Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to finally a winning Facebook Live video. We ain't got no history. My name is David. We'll be here for a short while to talk about this afternoon's, whatever your time zone may be. Rather exciting, happy, perhaps a bit lucky 4-2 win for Chelsea over Watford. Back in the wins after 2 losses in the league, plus a draw in the Champions League. Let's see if this page works here. As always, it's a bit of a crapshoot for me. Hey, looks like it's working. Alright. So yeah, a bit of a... raise your hand if you almost cried today. I wasn't that close. I found myself fairly excited by both the equalizer from Batshuayi and the winner from Cesar Azpilicueta, aka Dave, and then Batshuayi scored a fourth just to put an extra. I almost rage cried. Yeah, there was probably a little closer to that, especially in the first half or in the first part of the second half. Yeah, and Batshuayi scored the fourth, just with basically the final kick of the game, which he seems to like to do, to put in perhaps a scoreline that's not necessarily reflective of the overall balance of the game, but hard to argue from our position. Could have been really a game that Watford could have put away early in the second half. Chelsea could have put it away early in the first half if Fabregas scores. His wide open chance when he decided to chip straight into the hands of the goalkeeper instead of just slotting at either side of him. Gomez is one of the biggest goalkeepers I've seen. Certainly, chipping him is not necessarily the best idea. But that could have put Chelsea up 2-0 early on, and obviously the game changes based on that. If Chelsea don't concede a goal with literally the final kick of the first half, it's probably turns into a different game as well. If Richarlison scores one of his several chances, including the one where he literally missed an open net from about 4 yards out, in rather Torresian fashion, obviously it turns into a different game. But sometimes you get the break, sometimes you don't. We all, I'm sure, still remember De Bruyne's huge miss last season for Manchester City that probably was not only game deciding but possibly title deciding last season. So it's you gotta take your luck when you get it, such as when Chelsea's first goal came from a corner that actually wasn't a corner. The ball deflected off Hazard's heel instead of the defender's leg. But you still gotta make it count. You still gotta clear it, whatever. And there were several cheap fouls that the referee also called. Those, and Jonathan Moss, not exactly the best referee out there, and not exactly the best performance from him today. You gotta take what you gotta use what you're given. You gotta take what you're given, etc., etc. So let's run through the lineups here. Chelsea back in the 3-4-3 after the 3-5-2 has proven to be not necessarily the magic potion that we all hoped for. It would be. Certainly not if we were looking to play from the front foot, which isn't going to happen when we put just David Luiz in midfield to anchor it and then play with 2 attackers up front, as we saw against Roma. So back in the 3-4-3, as we all hoped we would be, Courtois in goal. The big surprise was Azpilicueta playing as right wing back instead of Zappacosta. So the back three was Cahill, Luiz, who recovered from his minor knock to be fairly healthy. He kind of struggled towards the end, I think, and it's the next game, the League Cup game, comes at a pretty good time to get everybody kind of back into better shape and less injury concerns. So Cahill, Luis, and Rudiger making a start. I always like to see Rudiger start a game. So that was the back three. Marcos Alonso and Azpilicueta as the wing backs. And then the middle two of Bakayoko and Fabregas. Fabregas basically plays every game these days. Some out of choice, some out of there being no other option for Chelsea to play. Bakayoko, I am not sure if he was still affected by his groin injury. It was certainly one of the worst games he's played for Chelsea. Constantly giving the ball away, getting beat to the ball, getting beat to 50-50s, losing the ball, being a bit lazy. You could say possibly, it's his game is not to be Conte. That's why we have Conte, and the ideal combination that we want to go for is Conte and Bakayoko, not Bakayoko and Fabregas. But whether he was still feeling that groin injury that he picked up on Wednesday, it's unclear. But no harm, no foul in the end. But certainly room for improvement there for the 20, how old he is, 22-year-old, 23-year-old. So can't wait to get old N'Golo Kante back. That will once again solve a lot of our problems that we continue having. And the front three was Hazard, Morata, and finally Pedro getting a start for the first time, I believe, since the Stoke City game, which Chelsea won 4-0. Perhaps not coincidentally, we also scored 4 goals today, so maybe give Pedro more starts. Willian, more effective off the bench today than he has been as a starter for a while, so another positive right there. Loved seeing Pedro and Rudiger both start. Not so sure about the Azpilicueta as right wing back. I don't think he's necessarily very good at it, although he did put in a couple of good crosses. But I think a lot of that was also down to us playing Azpilicueta to stick to Richarlison. I don't know, wherever you put the emphasis on his name. And that worked out for a while, but then Rudiger picked up a yellow card pretty early. I think it was, 23rd minute. And after that, he couldn't be as aggressive on Richarlison as he was before. Clearly, this Richarlison guy is pretty talented and has plenty of tricks and all that good stuff. But he's got a bit of the early Cristiano Ronaldo's in him where he likes to dive a lot and play up for yellow cards. So had to be careful. Rudiger had to be super careful after picking up that early yellow. And obviously, if we play Azpilicueta to keep somebody else in check, like Richarlison, then we lose a lot of the attacking options down that right side, since the wing backs are so crucial to how we build up from the back, which again we had trouble with today. Getting pressed and all the stuff, all the same tactics that Chelsea have struggled with over the past couple months. So yeah, I mean, the scoreline certainly is flattering, 4-2 to Chelsea. I don't think we necessarily played that well for the whole game. Watford probably should have scored a lot more than 2 goals, but who am I to complain about a win? Especially after 3 games winless and everybody getting just a little too antsy there about our immediate and long-term futures as well. So good timing for everybody to get this win under our belts and hopefully start a new winning streak. So far this season, Chelsea opened with that win, or opened with that shocking defeat to Burnley, then went undefeated for 8 games, then went winless for 3 games. So hopefully now we go another nice long unbeaten, or possibly even a winning run. Another 13-game winning streak would certainly not go amiss to haul ourselves back into the title race. So yeah, when will Drinkwater be back? So it sounds like Drinkwater could actually be back by Wednesday. He had returned to, last weekend he returned to light training. so just a lot of fitness stuff. And then halfway through the week, he joined with the rest of the squad, so he was out there in regular training by the end of the week. Conte said the usual stuff that he likes to say about players in the press conferences, where you have to get him used to our own methods, you have to be patient, etc., etc. But considering everybody is injured and super tired, all the other midfielders in the squad, hopefully Drinkwater is actually able to play on Wednesday against Everton. And it actually would not surprise me to see a midfield of, say, Drinkwater and Ampadu, who was on the bench today, and the 16 or 17-year-old, or how old he is, 17 years old. I would not be surprised to see him get his Chelsea's first Chelsea start on Wednesday. Bakayoko seems inconsistent. The absence of Conte has really exposed his incompetence, says Dolapo. Well, I wouldn't say he's incompetent, but I think the absence of Conte is certainly widely felt, and his absence makes everybody a worse player. Or in the converse of it is, when he plays, everybody suddenly looks a lot better. Conte does the work, as the joke goes, does the work of two players, and he really does. And it allows us to play somebody like Fabregas in midfield without sacrificing a lot of the stability that we do if we play Fabregas with basically anybody else, whether that be Bakayoko or non-peak Matic or whoever else we've tried him with, Ramirez back in the day. I don't know if we ever played that combination. I'm sure we did. So yeah, it's Conte, unfortunately, is a bit of a unique player and a bit of an amazing player, and that's why he was Player of the Year, not just for a couple people, but almost everybody who was voting. So yeah, when is our next match? Next match is on Wednesday against Everton in the League Cup. The next league game is on Saturday, I believe, against Bournemouth away. So, a chance for everybody to rest and recover. By the end of the game, it was like half the team was just limping around. David Luiz got clattered a couple times, sometimes by his own player, by his own teammates. Him and Cahill collided at one point. Unfortunately, the referee called a foul on a Watford player, but really those two just took each other out. So Luis was limping, Cahill was limping, Bakayoko was limping, Rudiger was limping, Hazard got kicked several times, and then he got his head wrung as well. So, Chelsea were in the wars today, so to speak. Old Morata got kicked more times than we can remember and count, and got no love from the referee whatsoever. And then instead got yellow carded for a nothing shove. So there's your refereeing summary right there. But certainly Morata, when he gets frustrated, he fell back into his early patterns when he first joined, just a little too weak in hold up and all that. So we need him to not fall down so easily. I understand that he gets kicked and pushed and shoved or whatever, but he needs to, he just needs to be stronger. I mean, and that's cliche, and I don't know if how accurate all that is, but today not one of the best games, better games from Morata even. Michi's hold-up play is also not exactly something to write home about, but at least the kid's a goal scorer, and there's little doubting about that. I mean, the run that he made on the equalizer was perfection, and if you want to teach, penalty area movement, how to lose 2 or 3 defenders to make a run around them and get on the end of a cross, that's beautiful, and a perfect finish too. So, Batshuayi as an impact sub is perfect for us, really. But in open play, not necessarily the praise is not as good, not as unequivocal in open play. He did have a couple decent moments when he first came on. His first touch was very good. The first touch was very good to spread the ball wide. There's a couple other instances when he was actually dribbling with the ball, which is not something we see very often from him. I think overall very good performance from Batshuayi, and getting the second goal, which was pretty lucky, was just the icing on the cake. Apparently, the Watford manager Marco Silva says it's a really unfair result. We didn't deserve this. Even only 1 point is not fair to us, but that's football. Yeah, that's football. All 3 points to Chelsea. And that's, you get what you deserve, right? Or you deserve what you get, as the old saying goes. And I fully subscribe to that. Yes, as Phil points out, the subs made the difference, and Michi at least looked like he wanted it. Yeah, the optics on Morata did not play well because he was on the ground so often. Then he got frustrated. So it was a bold call, I think, for Conte to take Morata off at the hour mark. Was it even? It was in the 61st minute. So yeah, right on the hour mark, to take off your record signing for somebody who's clearly not a player you prefer. To put it mildly, for Conte, but that's how unhappy Conte was with Morata's contributions today, and so that's a bold call. Certainly, if you looked at Twitter at the moment that substitution was made, there were comments along the lines of Conte throwing in the towel, things like that. Clearly, he was not, and he was just from the future, and he could tell that it was Batshuayi's time to shine. Put up the bat signal and get us the equalizer, and then the fourth goal as well. Another excellent call from Conte was Zappacosta coming on towards the end. Not sure if that's exactly what was drawn up, whether it was more of a Pedro was dead tired and we needed somebody to just put in a couple more crosses for Batshuayi, see what happens. But Zappacosta came on. His first touch was an excellent cross that almost got Chelsea the winner. And then his second touch was the secondary assist for Willian, I think it was, who put in the cross. And get Azpilicueta, of all people, Azpilicueta switching to left back after starting as right wing back, makes the far post run, and he's there to score the winning goal. There's your captain, vice captain, whatever he is. Couldn't think of a better player to happen to score your winning goal that hopefully sets you up, puts this bad streak, bad moment to bed, and sets up the rest of the season for a good top 4 title challenge, whatever. So yeah, very happy with Azpilicueta there. Let's see. Troy says, the issue for me is Bakayoko all game long. Passing, defending, touches, gave the second goal, could not take the ball down. Such a step down from Matic. Yeah, certainly on today's evidence, Bakayoko has a long way to go to be the consistently reliable option in midfield. But I think a lot of it has to do with workload. A lot of it has to do with no Conte. A lot of it has to do, I think, with us not remembering just how poor Matic could be as well. Certainly when he was overworked. So, I think Bakayoko has plenty of promise. This game is one to forget or learn from and improve from. So, and we got away with it, so that's fine. It is what it is. We didn't really have any other option. I mean, who else were you going to play? Christensen could have played midfield theoretically, or David Luiz again. But we signed Bakayoko to be the midfielder for the next however many years. So it's the trouble with playing 22-year-olds or 23-year-olds. Sometimes they are not as good as some of the older players, or certainly not as consistent as some of the older players can be. But yeah, I think Bakayoko has certainly has several key phases of his play that he needs to improve. One of those being not giving away silly fouls, especially around the box. And then the other one being just a lot of lazy, I'm not sure lazy is the right word, but we're going to go with lazy. A lot of lazy giveaways and turnovers in midfield. For example, the Watford equalizer came from a passage of play where Bakayoko tried to pass the ball out to Azpilicueta on the right side. He had so many easy options around him. He went for the slightly tougher one, which I guess is fine. But, it was a tough first-time pass out to Azpilicueta. It got intercepted, and Watford put on the pressure, and then we failed to clear the set pieces and conceded, which Bakayoko was also involved in failing to clear the set pieces. So, some of those decisions, I guess, maybe will improve as he grows older and matures, or whatever. Or maybe he won't. Who knows? Batshuayi is going on 24, and he's still learning many key improvements that he needs to make to his overall game. But if he comes on for 30 minutes when we need him and scores a couple goals, I don't think too many will be complaining. He just might not start a lot of games. He's gonna be the super sub like Fabregas should be. It's interesting from Watford that just like last weekend against Arsenal, they matched our shape. They normally play like a 4-3-3-ish. Certainly a 4-man defense is their usual. But they matched Chelsea's shape. And we saw this happen a lot last year too. It's one of the easier ways, I suppose, to try to combat the 3-4-3 and what Chelsea like to do. But again, with more so than just a shape, it was the pressure that Watford were able to put on Chelsea, us being not necessarily good at dealing with it. A lot of that also comes down to midfield play. So certainly room for improvement, which, as Conte said, if we don't improve, once we stop improving, then then we're just being stupid. So there's always room for improvement. Do we look more balanced playing 4-2-3-1? So yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if we look balanced, but certainly once. So Conte took off Morata to put on Batshuayi. That didn't really change the system, but Batshuayi, as we know, always plays better in a two-man forward setup. It's two center forwards. Would have been interesting to see Batshuayi and Morata play together, but I think Morata was just having a bad day, so he needed to be taken off. But Conte a few minutes later put on Willian to sort of be the second striker. He kind of switched off with Hazard every once in a while, but that happened in 68th minute. So Willian came off for Alonso, and we switched to a 4-2-4, which is something we haven't seen in a long time. With Azpilicueta moving to left back, Rudiger moving to right back, which is something he had played before, both for Germany and for Roma. And then Champions League final winning center back pairing, Gary Cahill and David Luiz playing in the center, with the midfield holding midfield two of Bakayoko and Fabregas, which was hope and a prayer right there. The idea being put on the pressure up top, and then hopefully the midfield doesn't come back to bite you. So we had Hazard left, Pedro right, and then in the center was Batshuayi and Willian. I call it a 4-2-4, but I guess you can call it a 4-2-3-1. I don't think it's necessarily something that we'll see beyond just the desperation time, comeback time. But nice to see us making our attacking skill count. Oh, apparently Manchester City just got a penalty. That's annoying. Or a dive. Either way, it's a penalty for Manchester City. Willian played better coming off the bench, says Leong, and I fully agree. I hope to see Pedro starting more games, as he should, and as we've been calling for him to start for a while now. And Willian's pace and sometimes, his ability to slow down play is actually helpful towards the end. Clearly, this time we were trying to score some goals, so maybe not ideal, but yeah, Willian got his assist. I guess he wasn't credited with an assist on the Azpilicueta goal for some reason. At least this page I'm looking at doesn't credit him, but we'll see if they change that, because it was a nice cross from Willian there. Hey, Manchester United is losing. All right. City winning, United losing. Well, it's all right, I guess. Still early. We should not at this point. Not necessarily worried about the title race. Just like to see us solidify our league position a little bit. Stay in the top 4 for a while. With the win, we are back in the top 4, which is good. Watford was actually above us, as hard as that may be to believe. So Chelsea on 16 points now. I'm back in the top 4. We could fall out theoretically if Arsenal or Burnley, or Liverpool, I guess, if they win and score lots of points, lots of goals. If Arsenal or Burnley win by 5 goals or more, then we'll be back out of the top 4. But I think we can safely say for now we're in there. 5 wins from 9 games, not the greatest, but that's all right. 17 scored, 10 conceded. The 10 is not so bad. I mean, we're conceding a barely over a goal per game pace, but certainly over the last few games, it's been a few, as John says, Chelsea are shambles at the back. There's been certainly some moments where shambolic defending has reared its ugly head, such as today on the equalizer when we couldn't deal with a long throw. In fact, we couldn't deal with long throws all game, and I'm not sure why that is. For most of the first half, we dealt with set pieces pretty well, and then just in the added on time in the first half, we couldn't do anything, and eventually conceded. And then the second half, just the first 15 minutes, it was just absolutely open, getting carved open left and right. The whole back 3 getting pulled out of position, everybody just running to the ball, leaving people open. I don't know. It kind of looked like the Burnley game when Conte said we lost composure, and I don't know if we did that again. But it's certainly the fact that somehow Watford only scored 2 goals. I think we can count our lucky stars and maybe send Richarlison a fruit basket as a thank you with some lovely chocolates to soothe this pain of missing at least 1 open net, possibly 2. When your central mid Bakayoko gives ball away all day, you will look bad at the back, says Troy. This is also true, and certainly not having Conte in the middle is exposing the defense. And as we learned from last few seasons, when any defenses are exposed, it's not going to be a good day for them. But we can still play it just a little better, Oh, it's 2-0. Nice. There you go, Huddersfield. New favorite team. That's gonna be glorious. If that result holds, then we're gonna have to tune into the Mourinho press conference, see what he's gonna whine about, and while telling us what he's not whining about. United has conceded 2 goals all season in the league, and today they've already conceded 2. Maybe it's just one of those weird days in the league. Maybe City will lose too, and it'll be perfect. What is Alonso offering us as at wingback is the question. I think Alonso offers us everything we need at wingback. He's just probably needs a rest at some point. I mean, right today he was run not only by one but two players all game long, up and down, up and down. So him getting withdrawn is not that surprising. I mean, the man's played far too many minutes as it is. We literally have nobody to back him up. Yeah, and not to mention the goals he scored already this season. I think Alonso there's a habit of underrating Alonso, and not a single cross from left wing is the complaint. I guess we can complain about that, but nobody else really was crossing from the left wing. We seem to be favoring the right side to create those chances. I mean, I'm not saying it was like some sort of super duper Superman performance from Alonso, but he put in a good shift as he normally does, having to run up and down against Kiko and whoever else was there, Pereira on the right side of Watford, and not to slag off Gary Cahill too much, but having to play with Cahill is probably extra difficult at times. Yeah, okay, so Jan says Alonso gives everything. He's got skills, just needs some speed. He always has trouble when quick players get on his side. Yes, if there's one glaring weakness for Alonso, I'd say it's not necessarily his speed, but like his first step. He is pretty slow to get going. Once he's at top speed, he's got long legs to run pretty fast. But he's a bit ungainly sometimes when trying to get up to speed. Cahill out of position for a second goal, says Chuck. I am positively shocked that Gary Cahill is out of position. This never happens. Why is everybody so obsessed with scathing Cahill? Oh, poor Gary. He makes an easy target. I mean, as much credit as Cahill should be given for what's actually turned into a very long and successful Chelsea career, he is a limited defender, and when he plays within his own limits, that's fine. When he plays outside of his limits, we get into trouble. I mean, it is what it is. It's easy to criticize any player. It's especially easy to criticize Gary Cahill. It's just, it is what it is. I think. I don't know. Do I own a legal firearm? Well, that's a random question, but no, I don't. When Cahill receives the ball, he's lost. Certainly, of all the defenders we have, I'd say I'm least comfortable with Gary Cahill on the ball, and that's one pretty good reason I like to criticize him. I like to think that's a good reason to criticize him. If we're trying to building on the left side through Cahill, a little less reliable than building on the right side, normally through Azpilicueta and Moses. Of course, today we had Rudiger and Azpilicueta, which is slightly better than Cahill and Alonso, but not by all that much. So after a while, it was probably a good choice that we just started pumping the ball long, even if Morata was generally losing those battles. Yes. Ariel says Cahill isn't the most athletic, but he holds his own. He's experienced and a very good defender. He's our captain. I don't think the captain necessarily means too much. There's plenty of leaders on the team. There's only could be 2 or 3 other players who probably could wear the armband just as easily. I'd say Cahill is his greatest asset. Certainly is that he's very experienced. He's been around the block a few times. He knows how to win, what it takes to win. And some of those qualities can be pretty hard to teach. When Cahill came to Chelsea, he was not a winner, to say the least. He came from Bolton or wherever he was, having played for Villa and all these other places. What I remember from signing Cahill was we got a good price for him, but the idea was that we gave him just a bit. His wages were too high for basically what we're gonna get from him, and we signed him when AVB was still in charge, and AVB did not like him at all. I don't think he ever played once for him. And then Di Matteo came in, and he suited Di Matteo's system to a T. Us playing super deep counter reactive football, and that's Cahill and Terry, or was it Cahill and Luis later? That suited their game pretty well. Kept Luis's erraticness in check too. So some of it is you got to get lucky sometimes in your career, and Di Matteo coming in for Cahill at that time was the making of his Chelsea career right there, basically. He shined in a similar system under Mourinho in, what was it, 2014-15, both him and Terry, just a little throwback season there. And as somebody saying, Chuck was saying, Cahill is our oldest player at the moment, our oldest outfield player, oldest non-goalkeeper, at 31 going on 32. He will have 2 years left on his contract at the end of the season. So both him and David Luiz, actually, who's also is into his 30s now, will be needing replacements sooner rather than later, I believe. So there was recent reports, rumors of Aymeric Laporte, or however you say his name, the defender at Athletic Bilbao, who has a 65 million euro release clause, and I certainly wouldn't complain too much if Chelsea decided to pay that release clause to get him in. As far as whether that would happen in January, I highly doubt it. I am not sure we'd be making a lot of moves in January, which is generally a bad time to make any major moves. Hold on. Troy's back with the Bakayoko love. He says, I love how Cahill gets bashed on the second goal. It was all Bakayoko. Defensive scramble to recover from impossible giveaway. Bakayoko led to 3 goals directly, and the board bashes Cahill. We only conceded twice. Can't lead to 3 goals if you concede twice. Bakayoko tried to give away about 5 goals, I think. And we only conceded twice, so that's a +3, or no, +1, sorry. +1. Something like that. Hold on. Somebody was trolling us in here in the comments. I haven't banned anybody on Facebook before. That guy just got banned. What the hell? Waiting for the who scored stats. I didn't look up the who scored stats. Should I look up who scored? Nah. We're just gonna enjoy the emotion of the moment. We're not gonna go do the fancy new age modern football against modern football. Let's just enjoy the joy of winning, the joy of an unlikely comeback, and the joy of heroes like Michy Batshuayi, the hero we need and the hero we deserve. Oh, and Kyle Walker is just injured for Manchester City. Unlucky. All right. I think we're going to call it a quick day here. The games are going into halftime, so everybody can take a break and then go ahead and we're all going to go root for Huddersfield. Oh, how far out is Conte? Do we know? It sounds like Conte might be back for the Roma game, which is in a week and a half. And if we're super duper lucky, he'll be back next weekend against Bournemouth. But I'm hoping we don't need him against Bournemouth and can get away with another midfield of Bakayoko, Fabregas. Hold our breath and pray for the best. And then hopefully get Conte back for both the Roma away match and the Manchester United home game before the international break in early November. Moses is out until after the international break. So, back by the end of November at the latest, Ariel. I think that's the pessimistic timeline. But yes, by the end of November, hopefully everybody's back from their whatever latest muscle injuries are. So, next up for Chelsea is Everton on Wednesday. And we'll probably do a live or a video thing, not immediately after that game, since I might actually not be able to watch it for reasons beyond this blog. So, Chelsea win 4-2. Yeah, we're about to start another 13-game winning run, as John says. You heard it here, third. So, that would be nice. 4-2 today. Goals from Pedro, which was really, really nice, but kind of got lost in the shuffle because it happened so early. And then 2 silly goals conceded on either side of halftime. Batshuayi comes on for the final 25-30 minutes, scores 2 goals. Azpilicueta scores the winner in between those. And the weekend's off to a fantastic start. So, if you watched any part of this, thanks for watching. And have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.